the Instagram stories for Monday, November 18th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we're going to break down what the head of Instagram shared on his Ask Me Anything, and we're going to talk about how to optimize broadcast channels, when to use them versus stories, what the plans are for story highlights, which live on your profile page and I don't like, what has been the Instagram team's biggest mistake this year, how they get input from creators, and a lot more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's get into the questions and answers. The first one, what's the best way to optimize broadcast channels and how are they different from stories? You understand the concept between stories and broadcast channels already if you've listened to the show with any regularity. Adam Mosseri explains it, but the key thing to remember is that broadcast channels will give people who subscribe to that channel a notification when you've added something new. Likely, they're joining your broadcast channel because they truly care about your content. If you have an email newsletter and you send that out, the people who open and read your newsletter because they really care about your content, those are the same kind of people who would potentially subscribe to your broadcast channel. I'm not saying if you send an email to them, they should be on your broadcast channel. Some people consume that content differently, but that's the kind of content you want to share between your email newsletter and also your broadcast channel. Here's Adam's answer.
How to best use broadcast channels. So the thing to understand is that broadcast channels are a way to reach your most passionate followers. Not everybody who follows you, but the people who are most interested in what you have to say. So I would try and design your content in a way that it embraces that reality because it's a direct line to the people who are the most excited about what you do on Instagram. I also would highly recommend that you name the channel and you talk about the channel in a way that makes it clear what people are going to get if they sign up, particularly if you post about it in your stories or elsewhere on Instagram. So try it out. Let me know what you think. Later.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. It's hard to find a specific post on someone's profile. Would you add search within profiles? This is a great suggestion, and here's why. Historically, Instagram search was not great. That's why we had hashtags. It has improved over time. We can find the content that we want. And also, if you can't find that content, the AI is there that you can access as well. However, if you want to find a specific post that a person made a long time ago, and you have to scroll through a lot of content to find it, and maybe they took it down so you never find it, it is a very frustrating experience. Here's Adam's answer to this question.
I'd love to add search to profiles so you can find a specific piece of content, but honestly, there's so much to improve about search right now. And that's not a knock on the team. The team has been lean and mean and they've done mighty work. But generally, I want to make it easier to find content on Instagram. So we've got a lot of things in the pipeline now trying to improve what we call content search. Because right now, most of search is just finding profiles, but you should be able to find anything on Instagram or anything about the world in Instagram search. So we're going to start taking steps in that direction over the next year or so.
Looking forward to seeing how the Instagram team implements that. It is very hard to find a specific person's post if you're really looking for it. The next question, why did you move highlights? I got very excited when I saw this because it means that the Instagram team is testing something. And if they get rid of story highlights, I am all for it.
We haven't moved highlights yet. If you're seeing that, you're in one of the tests. We're trying to figure a way to improve the profile and get more of the content above the fold and simplify it. And one of the ideas we're exploring is integrating highlights into the grid. So you will still have control. You can still pin things. There'll be a dedicated highlights tab, but we don't need to have pogs and squares and have it be all complicated and pushing everything down. This one's contentious. I know that we may not be able to make it work, but bear with us as we try to figure out a simple, effective solution that empowers creators to shape their profile, but also keeps the experience really simple for the viewer.
I want to take this time to just say, when was the last time you went to someone's page and you looked at their story highlights and they had updated their story highlights in the past 2 years? I am willing to bet that that very rarely happens unless they just launched a new business or made a new account or something. I don't think anyone's updating their story highlights, and I certainly am not watching old story highlights. I have zero interest in that. Let's go on to the next question. What should I look into if my growth is stalled? I'm going to let Adam answer it, but then I'm going to give an entirely different take.
Now, it's really tough when you stop growing. This happened to me back in December. The first thing I would do is take a big step back, look at the last 6 months or so, and see if there's any patterns to what has worked and what has not for you, and then move away from what hasn't, and then double down on what has. And on top of that, you're going to have to try and get creative and create something new, which is hard. Maybe things that didn't work before, there's a new way to do them. Or maybe there's something you can try to do that you haven't done before. You need to stay true, obviously, to who you are, but also figure out how to create content that resonates with the audience you're trying to reach. That overlap is that magic place that you're trying to find. And how to find that overlap is going to change over time as people's interests change and what they respond to changes, which is the challenge. So take that step back, reevaluate, and best of luck.
Okay, Adam said what people want changes over time. I disagree. I was reading that Mariah Carey makes millions of dollars every year from the hit song All I Want for Christmas Is You, which she released for the first time in 1994. She earns $2.5 million annually from the song. I would argue that this is an excellent example that people do want to see the same content from you on a regular basis, and whatever reason they chose to follow you, whatever content it was that made them say, I want to see more of this person, that's the content you want to keep creating. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about editing tools that would make Instagram better, and if you should post to Threads to help grow your Instagram. Stick around. We're back continuing with the questions and answers from the head of Instagram. The next one, what's an editing tool you'd want to see added to Instagram? Here's Adam's answer.
There's a lot of work to do to improve the editing tools on Instagram, but the one I personally really want is I want to be able to split audio into its own layers and then be able to control it independently. Right now, it's oddly attached to video, which makes it more difficult if you're trying to do anything interesting with audio. But let me know what you think we should do to improve editing on Instagram. Love to hear it.
I'll tell you what I would want to see, which is a full-fledged editing experience for my laptop integrated into Instagram. TikTok has that. It's called CapCut, and CapCut is owned by the parent company, ByteDance, which owns CapCut and TikTok. Why does CapCut charge, even though I'm going to use what I made to post to TikTok, which helps ByteDance? I can't really answer that question, but I think it's up to Instagram to create a fully formed tool that I can use to manage files, add captions, add graphics, do everything on my laptop exactly the way I want to, instead of staring at my tiny phone when I need to edit these clips. Let's go on to the next question. Hitting a creative block. How do you find inspiration? I'm going to let Adam answer, and then I'll say how I find it.
You got to find what Rick Rubin would call source. You got to just find material that's going to inspire you. And that could be on Instagram by checking out what other people are doing, but that could also just be on another platform or just even offline entirely. Watch a movie you love, go to a concert, read a book, try to consume more and maybe further away from what you do day to day, because sometimes inspiration comes from going a little bit broader and not being so myopically stuck in your groove or in your lane. Also, maybe take some time, get a good night's sleep, take a little bit of a rest, maybe take a couple of days off. Inspiration is tough. You cannot manufacture it, but you can create an environment that is more conducive to it. And I think that environment usually involves a rested mind and a lot of source material that might spark some inspiration.
I think that's a great answer. One of the things I like to do is either go on Instagram or TikTok and look at content that I'm not 100% sure how to make, but I want to figure out how to make. I find that to be incredibly inspiring. It can be overwhelming, so I need to find content that I am capable of making. I just don't 100% know how to do it. Finding that line is a bit of a challenge, but that's what I always find to be inspirational. Okay, next question. If I'm trying to grow on Instagram, should I also be posting to Threads? I would say that the two do have a very closely tied together relationship, but Threads should be for more text-based conversations, although photos can work over there.
Not necessarily. Threads is going to be a better place to share ideas, to have conversations, and Instagram is going to be a better place to share things that you create, photos, videos, and carousels. And if what you do sort of lends itself to both those types of sharing, great, use both. You can cross-promote, and it can be symbiotic, and it can help you grow. But if it doesn't, don't. The more channels you have to manage, the more you're spreading your time thin, the harder it is to do quality work in each channel. So that's a individual decision.
And the last question we're going to talk about, biggest mistake this year so far? Here's Adam's answer.
I think the toughest thing so far about this year has been just, and this will sound odd to say because I'm sure you assume we're a big company and we are big, but we've just been spread really thin between our focus on teen accounts and growing Threads and stretching the team there and investing in a bunch of long-term infrastructure projects on the ranking and relevance side. we've just been stretched really, really thin. And I don't know that we've been quite able to put as much thought and rigor into each of our projects as we would like. So hopefully next year we can make sure that our scope of work doesn't increase faster than our capacity to deliver on that scope at the level of excellence that we aspire to. That's really on me at the end of the day. And so it's a big thing that I am keeping top of mind as we go into 2025.
I think that Instagram's biggest mistake continues to be there are so many ways to post on this app, and it is very unclear why you would do certain posting formats and in what situation you would use them. And I think until they clear that up, it's going to continue to be confusing. That is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening. Be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things that you need to know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.